What's up guys, Kizzy here with a full track guide video on this week's daily race seat. We're at Suzuka in Group 2 cars, and this week I decided to go for the GT-R NISMO. Let's jump on the replay and check how I did my lap. So here we are at the start of the lap in the track. I'm using the GT-R as mentioned before. Some of my settings, in case that you want to replicate them: +5 on the brake balance, ABS is on default, no traction control on this car. In terms of my wheel settings, if you use the T598 just the same as I use it, I put actually my steering rotation sensitivity at 540 rather than automatic. I found that automatic actually does not align properly with the car rotation, so maybe 540 could work better for you if you find it a little bit too hard to rotate the car and steer into certain corners, especially the hairpin, which is a very tricky one. So you can try that out if you want to. If you have any other wheel like a Fanatec or something, it could be probably the same thing, because the automatic sensitivity rotation is actually something from the game itself, so it could work on any wheel in case that you want to try it out. So let's jump in the start of the lap. So you're gonna go out of the exit chicane for the start of the lap, all over the finish line, all the way flat out until you meet turn 1. And these cars have a lot of downforce, so it's very good to actually trail brake into some of the corners, like turn 1, which I just paused right at my braking point. So as you can see, there's about 3 pillars on the right hand side. The 3 black pillars that you see right there. You basically want to aim until you find the third to last one as your braking point, or in my case, my braking marker. I'm gonna go and trail brake into this corner, almost like around 50% braking, all the way through the whole sweeper, and I'm gonna shift down to second until I meet the second apex. You don't really have to actually meet the apex on this case. You can stay more in the middle of the track if you feel more comfortable with it. And then I'm going to upshift all the way up to 4th for the exit. I found that at 4th here you can actually push flat out of the exit of the corner much easier than if you do it in 3rd. In 3rd you have to modulate the throttle a little bit more. So here we are exiting in 4th, and then you're going to start the S's. You're going to lift off a little bit before the first apex of the S's so that you can actually meet the apex properly. Then you're going to align the car almost in the middle of the track, and you're going to dab the brakes and shift to 3rd so that you can attack the second apex. And then shift back up to 4th so that you can actually push through. If you exit in 3rd, you might find that the ref limiter might actually kick in, and you may lose some time if you try to just exit in 3rd. So my suggestion is that you upshift up to 4th, and then you push out of this second S in 4th gear. That way you can be more comfortable with the gearing and the refs. So then you're gonna lift off again to meet the 3rd apex of the S's, push through, and then before the start of the rumble strip, you're gonna dab the brakes a little bit, shift down to 2nd, and then you can push out in 4th. So you're gonna double shift up to 4th after you basically go all the way midpoint through that apex, like so. Push out of the SS. If you do this racing line right at the exit of the SS, you may find that you can actually do it flat out. In this case, I did have to lift up ever so slightly so that I could keep the line and keep the car on the track. But if you find it right, you can actually do it flat out. And if you do, very well done. So then you're gonna head all over to the next quarter, and you're gonna see the 50-meter braking, the 50-meter marker right in front of you, and you're gonna brake just by the time you're about to hit it. So by this time, I'm already applying some brake, as you can see in my inputs. You're gonna downshift to 4th, and then you're gonna attack the apex very in line, but be careful not to go too over the apex, because the green patch is actually a little bump, and that can unsettle the car a little bit. So you basically want to just attack the very tip point of the apex, and you're gonna push out in 4th from it. And then if you see that little black mark in the lines, in the white lines, that's a good braking marker for the next corner. And you're gonna downshift to 2nd, roll the car over through the apex while coasting, and then exit in 3rd. And when you exit, you want to just squeeze the throttle very carefully. If you do it too quickly, you might spin the car out. So here we are, it's 2nd and then exit in 3rd. Push all the way through to finish the sector, and then we're gonna go through the hairpin. So in the hairpin, you have that rumble strip on the right hand side. Once you cross it fully, that's when you want to start braking. Shift all the way down to 1st. keep a very low speed at around 42 miles per hour, which is probably somewhere around 65 kilometers an hour if you use kilometers. And then you upshift to second, and again, squeeze the throttle very carefully on the exit so that you don't spin the car and snap oversteer. So here we are then at the exit of the hairpin, and then we're going to head all over to spoon. While you're taking this line, keep it very tight on the right-hand side. If you go beyond the left, then you're going to lose a little bit of time. So then you have this escape road on your right-hand side, and the moment that you cross it, that's when you want to start braking for spoon. And you're going to downshift to third. You're going to go through the first apex, and then you're going to push a little bit in third until you meet the middle part of the rumble strip on the right-hand side, like so. Push in third, and then actually there's a little black patch that you might have noticed. You see that little black marking on the green side? Once you cross that part, that's probably a good point for you to trail brake a little bit, downshift to second, and then try to meet the second apex of spoon so that you can exit all the way down to 130R. Downshift to second, and I double shifted up to fourth. If you double shift up to fourth, you might find that you can push all the way through on your throttle at 100% straight from the exit. If you do it in third, then you have to squeeze the throttle a little bit more carefully to not snap oversteer. So then you're going to keep it right inside the rumble strip on the right. You can actually go over it, and you can use more of the track limits if you wanted to. 130R is very straightforward. You just cut across the apex flat out because this car has a lot of downforce. And then the last corner, you're going to brake right before you meet that 100-meter board on your right-hand side. In this case, I actually did go a little bit too late on the brakes, so I probably lost a little bit of time, maybe a tenth or so on this lap. Going into the chicane. But if you just brake right before the 100-meter board, you should be more than fine. And then you're going to downshift to first, like so. Go through the first apex, upshift to second, push a little bit, and then align the car for the second apex. And then upshift to third, and keep the steering wheel as straight as you can so that you can push out of the second apex at full throttle so that you can have the best exit possible. Now in this case, I almost had a snap oversteer, but I actually managed to rescue it, which is probably another half a tenth or so, but it's still a good lap, enough to put it in the top 100 and with a 143.363. And there we have it. So that's it, guys. That was my lap for this week's Daily Race Seat. If you found it helpful and if you like this track guide, please make sure to drop a like. Leave a comment below if you want more content like this, and subscribe for more videos coming up. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you for the watch, and I hope to see you soon. See you later.